Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is RBT and welcome to what I believe is the 10 most exciting teams to use for your Madden 19 franchise. These 10 teams made this list for a bunch of different reasons. Rather it be they just have fun players to play with, rather they're a really nice rebuilding project, and then a couple other reasons that I will explain throughout this video. These teams are listed in no particular order, and I want you to let me know in the comment section below which team you're going to be starting your first Madden 19 franchise with. Hopefully you guys do enjoy, and if you do, make sure to drop a like. Let's see if we can smash 1,000 likes on this video. Be sure to subscribe if you are new, and turn on the notification bell if you haven't. Before we get into the video, I gotta roll this clip really quick. So guys, I would like to give a massive shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. SeatGeek is the #1 app when it comes to getting the best ticket for the best price to any sporting event out there. There's actually more than just sports that you can get tickets for on the app. You can get concert tickets, you can get Broadway show tickets, comedy tickets, music festival tickets, and a lot more. There will be a link to go download the app in the description box below, and once you go download the app, use the code RBT to get $20 off your first purchase. And once again, thanks so much to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. They are a fantastic company, and I would not agree to do this otherwise. But with that said, guys, let's get into the rest of the video. So the first team I think is one of the most exciting to use for your Madden 19 franchise is the New York Giants. They're a team that obviously did not do so well last year, but they have some super exciting pieces to the team. Obviously, they have top rookie Saquon Barkley at the starting running back position you'll be able to use for a long time and probably get up close to a 99 overall. They also have young guys like Landon Collins, also have one of the most exciting receivers in Odell Beckham Jr. So they're a team you can rebuild that already has a ton of awesome pieces a part of the team. And they do still have Eli Manning at quarterback, so I'm not really sure how you feel about Eli. So maybe you do need to replace the quarterback, rather it be like via a trade or maybe through the NFL draft. But if you can get yourself a new quarterback, as you could just like consider that a rebuilding piece to this franchise, you already have like what's set up to be a super fun team to use. The next team I believe is one of the most exciting to use is the LA Rams. Now, like I said in the intro, the teams that are in this video are going to be for a bunch of different reasons, and this one in particular is because the team is so stacked. And not only is it stacked, it has a ton of just super exciting like players at exciting skill positions. Like obviously they have Todd Gurley at wide receiver, they have guys like Brandon Cooks, and also for me particularly, one of my university's top alumni, Gerald Everett, is one of the young exciting tight ends on this team. But not to mention they have a super young and talented quarterback in Jared Goff, so he should progress throughout your franchise as well. So if you're not necessarily looking for a rebuilding project, this is a team that you can start off with that's already really good. Not like way too stacked. They're not the highest overall team in Madden 19. Some people think they will be the best team in the NFL this year, but in terms of Madden 19, not the most like overpowered team, but has exciting pieces that you could use and have fun right off the bat in Madden 19. And right next to the Rams, we also have the Baltimore Ravens. And why are the Baltimore Ravens on this list? Really, for one reason, maybe a couple reasons, but number one, Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson is one of the most anticipated players to watch this year in the NFL. The young rookie who was drafted in the late first round of this prior NFL draft. And also, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who's about to get their hands on Madden 19, one of the first players they want to play with is Lamar Jackson, because he is the fastest quarterback in the game with 91 speed in franchise mode. That is like Michael Vick numbers. So everybody is super stoked to play with him. This is one of the reasons why I chose the Ravens for my Madden 19 franchise series on my channel. And not even just that, Ravens had a down year last year, and as you see right here, they only have one player over 92 overall. Their top two players are relatively like getting on up there in age. Marshall Yanda, he's over 30. Jimmy Smith, he's closing in on 30. So aside from that, it's a team that also needs a little bit of a rebuild. So you throw in probably the most exciting player in Madden 19, Lamar Jackson, and you have a franchise with a team that's not really overpowered and a team that needs some pieces added to it. This could be one of the most fun and exciting teams to use for your Madden 19 franchise series. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Why the Seattle Seahawks? Because the Seahawks look like they're going to have one of their worst rosters in the recent future for this upcoming year. The Legion of Boom is pretty much gone, And it seems like the Seattle Seahawks are going into what is going to be some sort of a rebuilding phase, or more of a rebuilding phase than they've had in a really long time. But you throw that whole entire storyline in with the fact they have super exciting players like Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, and not to mention Shaquem Griffin, who, just like Lamar Jackson, is probably actually tied for the most anticipated rookie to use, and probably most anticipated player to use in general on this game for people getting their hands on Madden 19. And Shaquem Griffin also, aside from everything else, has 91 speed at linebacker, is the fastest linebacker in the game for very good reason, because he ran a freaking 4.340 at the combine. So all that, you have the Seahawks that are really going into their first ever rebuilding phase, so you can rebuild the Seahawks, a team that has a ton of exciting pieces. You have a franchise quarterback, so you don't have to worry about the quarterback position. So if you could somehow add a really good running back to the Seahawks, whether it be through a trade or in the upcoming NFL draft, and also begin to rebuild that Legion of Boom, this Seahawks team should be one of the most fun teams to use in your Madden 19 franchise. And the next team we have in this list is the Houston Texans. Kind of like Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, you have Deshaun Watson, one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, I know he threw a lot of interceptions, but he had some incredible games last year until he got injured. And you throw that on top of the fact that the Texans have a lot of exciting pieces like DeAndre Hopkins. They have obviously one of the most popular players in the NFL in J.J. Watt. They just added Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, to their secondary. So it's a team that has a lot of holes and obviously is not the greatest team in Madden 19 with the 79 overall. But you add in the fact that it's a super exciting quarterback and super talented young quarterback in Deshaun Watson that you probably can progress well into the 90 overalls throughout your franchise series. And if you can add, once again, kind of like the Seahawks, if you can add a really good running back, whether through a trade or through a draft, you should have an electrifying offense right off the bat with a rookie quarterback and with some young players that will just continue to progress throughout your franchise series. So they should be a super fun team to use in Madden 19. Now, the next team we have on this list is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. What's the most exciting team list to use in Madden if you don't have the Browns? I mean, this goes without saying, so many storylines behind the Browns and so many players on the Browns roster that makes them one of the most exciting teams to use for any franchise or for your franchise in Madden 19. Obviously, they have the #1 overall draft pick in Baker Mayfield to potentially start at quarterback. You will have that decision off the bat, whether you want to start with Baker Mayfield or maybe start with Tyrod Taylor, who they did trade for this past offseason. Pretty sure 99% of you are going to probably start with Baker Mayfield, which I would do too, because you can probably progress well into the 90 overalls throughout your franchise series. But they have a ton of young players, and obviously the whole entire storyline with it being the Cleveland Browns only won a one game the past 2 years, coming off an 0-16 season. So they have, I mean, it's weird because they went 0-16 last year, and they've done so bad the past few years. But there's so much optimism around this franchise with so many exciting players, you know, like acquiring Tyrod Taylor, acquiring Jarvis Landry, and some other players, and with some other draft picks like Denzel Ward, a super young and talented and exciting team that you can use in your Madden 19 franchise, and you can be the owner or the coach that can bring this team from 0-16 to Super Bowl champions in a matter of just a couple years. The next team in this list is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Why? I know they're a little stacked. I mean, not really stacked because they're only an 82 overall. But there's a ton of reasons you could have a ton of fun with the Chiefs as your Madden 19 franchise team, because they have so many talented skill position players. You have guys like Kareem Hunt. You have Tyreek Hill, the fastest player, or is he the fastest player? I think he's the fastest player in the game. They also added Sammy Watkins in the offseason. They have Eric Berry, Travis Kelce, veteran like Justin Houston. And also, they are another team transitioning into an era of a new young quarterback taking the reins as Patrick Mahomes, I believe this is his second year in the NFL, is going to be taken over for Alex Smith, who was traded to the Washington Redskins. So a team that has so many fast, talented, skill position players with a young quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, who's like has one of the strongest arms in the NFL, and he's pretty mobile too. So you have a sort of a scramble quarterback, kind of a hybrid. He's a scramble quarterback with a really big arm. And it's a team that you'll have fun with right off the bat because they have so many talented skill position players. But at the same time, they're not that like spectacular that they're going to be way too overpowered. So you'll have chances, you'll have holes that you'll have to fill. You'll have positions that you need to improve at through the draft or maybe through trades. But it should be one of the most fun teams to use in Madden 19 franchise. Next, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Probably, maybe tied with the Rams for the most stacked team in this list. But the Falcons are a team that if you're just off the bat looking for a fun offense to use, you have the Falcons. Obviously, freaking Julio Jones, Devonta Freeman, you have Tevin Coleman, you have Matt Ryan. And not to mention all of those players, they just added a first-round draft pick and wide receiver Calvin Ridley, another receiver that could potentially progress into the 90 overalls within a couple years, depending how good you do with them. Like, that's potentially one of the best, not even to mention Mohamed Sanu. One of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL, depending if not Calvin Ridley actually lives up to expectations, could be one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL and potentially one of the best offenses in the NFL. And they're a team that has not won the Super Bowl in quite a long time. Obviously made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, didn't really turn out, in their favor after the second half. But it's a team that you could bring a Super Bowl ring to for the first time in a while. And like I said, right off the bat, you have such a fun offense to play with, and that's what a lot of you guys care about right off the bat, is having a fun offense. But still some positions, particularly on defense, that you could upgrade. I mean, it's still a pretty good defense, but it's not like overly stacked like an 89 overall or such. So it's a team with a little bit of improvement that needs to be made, but at the same time would be super dope to start off with in Madden 19. And the next team on this list is right next to the Atlanta Falcons, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers, a team that has struggled pretty bad in the last couple years, but they're in a new era with Jimmy Garoppolo as their starting quarterback. Actually has not lost a game as the starting quarterback for the 49ers, so you'll be able to go into a brand new season with Jimmy G as the starter and see if you can continue that trend and maybe go 16-0. That would be wild if you did, because they're not that great. So they're a team that's really not stacked, but they have like a ton of awesome storylines surrounding them. Like I said, Jimmy G, his first full year as starting quarterback for the 49ers. They're bringing in Richard Sherman from the Seattle Seahawks, so that's going to be super interesting. You'll be able to play against the Seahawks twice with Richard Sherman at your starting quarterback position, and also have some pretty good young players such as Reuben Foster, who's actually the third highest overall player on the team that should progress well into the 90 overalls throughout your franchise series. And it's a team that does have some holes. I mean, not the greatest at the running back positions, although Jerick McKinnon, I've seen in franchises far, he progresses super fast. So he's a running back you might not really know that much about, but he should be super fun to play with unless you maybe want to replace him. They do need maybe another wide receiver or two, but aside from that, it should just be a super fun team to use specifically for all the storylines that surround them, and they could be a team you can finally bring back to their glory days. Now, the last team in this list, for a reason that's completely different than the others, is going to be the New York Jets. And like I said, they're on this list for a completely different reason, and that is because, in my opinion, they're by far the biggest rebuilding project on this game. So if you're somebody that likes to take an awful team and turn them into a perennial powerhouse, the Jets are the team that need your freaking help, because they are tied with the Bills as the worst team in the game overall wise, but they're just bad. The defense, not so much, but the offense is atrocious. So right off the bat with your rebuilding project, you have rookie quarterback Sam Darnold you could start, but you have a young rookie quarterback that you could piece a bunch of players around. But aside from that, this offense needs your help. Sam Darnold is there. He could progress. I don't know, but they don't have a good running back. Like, they have some decent wide receivers, but Robbie Anderson's the number one. The highest overall player on their team is an 85. So this team is only on this list because, they have a rookie quarterback you could build around. But it's on this list because if you are somebody that wants to have a team to rebuild off the start, the Jets are the team that needs your help. So that is the 10 most exciting teams to start your Madden 19 franchise with. Hopefully guys did enjoy, and let me know, like I said, what team you're going to be using for your Madden 19 franchise in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe if you are new, turn on the notification bell if you haven't, but I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. God bless and peace.